In the present video, I'm going to talk about using functions and graphs in SMath Studio, again as a general introduction to those applications, not in a whole lot of detail, and we're going to use this particular document. There is a button up here called FX, which allows you to define a number of functions. If you click on it, you get different categories, and within each category there is a number of functions. And over here is an explanation of the meaning of those. For example, in a trigonometric function, the arc cosine is the first function that shows up in there, using an argument in I. So I'm going to type a few examples here, like the arc cosine of 0.7, press the equal sign, and it gives you the result in radians by default. If you click in here in the placeholder and put quote DEG, means degrees, then it will give you that particular result in degrees. You could go, for example, for hyperbolic functions and say, well, give me the hyperbolic cotangent of the number pi. I'm going to type pi, type in P, control G over 3, and it will say equal, and it gives you 1.2809. And you also have like an exponential function and a natural logarithm function, and so on. You can define your own functions in SMath Studio, for example, by using the assignment symbol f of x exponential of minus x squared over 2 and g of xy as x squared plus y squared. If I evaluate numerical here, say f of 2, I obtain a particular value. I could also try to evaluate symbolically by saying, like, for example, f of a is a variable that has not been defined. I'm going to give me some space in here. But if you do the symbolic equal sign, the evaluate symbolical this for control dot, then it tends to evaluate symbolically by replacing the value of x with a for this particular example. Similarly, for this function of two variables, g of 2, 3, for example, will be equal to 13, and g of ab, control equal, is going to be equal to ax squared, b squared. And so you can see you can produce a number of functions. I'm going to show you later on how to produce tables and so on. I just wanted to illustrate here the use of functions defined by the user-defined functions. Now, once you have defined a function like we did here for f of x and g of xy, we can produce some basic plots, and we're going to talk in more detail about those, but I have left some spaces here. If I click in this point and then I go to insert plot 2D, I get this generic xy plot, and then in the placeholder down below here I type f of x, and you get a basic draw. Then you have to use the mouse to increase, and go back here to 125%. You gotta click on the graph, and you can use the mouse to produce changes in the scale of the function. If I click over here and do insert plot 3D, and then I type g of xy, I obtain a projection of the function. If I drag the mouse around, you can see how that changes in position in a three-dimensional way. And so these are some of the things that you can do with functions. You can, of course, use these as a way to calculate also solutions of equations. If you type solve f of x, a space bar, control equal, let's say 25, comma x equal. It turns out that there are no real roots. I'm going to try something smaller here, 2.5. Still no real roots. I'm going to try something small here. And then I get a couple of results in there. Again, this is just a quick presentation of the applications of functions and graphs, and we're going to be doing more detailed presentations in upcoming videos.